welcome back to the show. I know you enjoyed your conversation talking all about hockey, right up your alley.
Talk hockey for the whole hour and a half, really.
Really?
You know.
You should be part of the wrap. Anyway, well, I could talk exercise and nutrition with our good friend Kari Schneider from Empower Conditioning. She didn't come alone this time. Nope, she has Dr. Peter Lemon here as well, nutrition researcher and professor at Western University. Good to have you both here. I'm very excited about this. It's the 7th annual symposium on nutrition and exercise. This is so important to have in our community. Why is it important? You know what, Kari, we'll let you just have a break for a sec here. Dr. Peter Lemon.
I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, really.
Why is it important for London to have something like this?
Well, there's so much misinformation out there about the importance of diet and exercise. People are very confused. And a number of years ago, we decided to try and create a situation where we could communicate this kind of information to the community. We work with our students a great deal, but we don't get a chance to interact with real people in London. So we've invited a number of area experts that will talk about obesity and why that's a problem, how to combat that, how to lose body fat, what are the best foods to consume, how to exercise, what's important with training. There's just a whole host of topics and a lot of opportunity to interact with these experts by asking questions. And I can guarantee that everyone in London who comes will get a whole host of information that applies directly to them.
Okay, let's talk about our first two experts. Number one, you. I love the title of your segment, that exercise makes you smarter.
And there's absolutely no question about that, but most people think that that's not the case because they see athletes who maybe from the US don't do well in school. If you look at Mustang athletes as an example, in addition to working out for their sport, they go to school and they do better than average Western students academically. But more importantly, there's lots of data showing that exercise increases blood flow to the brain. It actually causes growth factors that causes increases in scores on IQ tests. It slows dementia as we get older. There's a lot of things that we'll be talking about that people may not be aware of because of the sort of, you know, you're an athlete, you must be dumb kind of myth that's out there.
I think a lot of people just look at exercise, for the most part, the general population, as a way to just make your body look good, right?
I was just going to say aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's too much of an aesthetics focus.
They don't think of really what's going on in the body, health-wise.
And that's why we talked about the diabetes talk and just trying to get the awareness out there that this is a necessary part of life, that you are taking care of yourself physically.
Now, Kari, you have a wealth of knowledge, but you're going to be talking about, well, the title of your talk is Talent Only Takes You So Far. And you know what, this is true. I remember in high school, volleyball, Miss Glass, she used to always say that to us to get us to work a little harder. Hey, talent only gets you so far, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Dr. Lemon and I looked at a couple of possibilities for topics, but this one, we just kind of figured that this one would catch a few people because we've both noticed that a lot of people want to do the shortcuts. They want to get there quick. They want to ignore the fact that it takes a lot of practice, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and dedicated effort. And you know, some of the knowledge that I have about this particular topic, plus some of the research that I'm doing, it shows over and over, it takes a lot of time. It takes the practice, and not just any practice. Don't just put the hours in. It's deliberate practice. It's the kind of high quality focus on the things that you're not as good at. That's what makes you so much better, whether you're an athlete, whether you're Joe Blow and you just need to be better at one particular thing. It takes the time. And we as a society are really hesitant to put the time into the things that we're not as good at.
Well, Dr. Lemon, is that just not human nature? People will take the easiest route if it's available to them, and they'll want to believe things that maybe are even a little less believable.
Absolutely.
We're lazy.
And a lot of these things relative to health are all about lifestyle choices. You know, what you choose to eat, when you choose to eat, how much you exercise. And we're doing some work, very fascinating work, showing that very intense, brief exercise has as much benefit or more benefit than the traditional jogging sort of exercise. And the exciting part about that is you can get it over with in about 2 or 3 minutes.
But it's hard.
You hear something like that, though.
Really hard.
You hear something like that and you can't believe that it's possible. We'll be talking about things like that at the symposium as well.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Will you cover all the different fads of exercise and nutrition as well?
We will
to
certainly touch
steer
on
clear
some of
from.
those.
Yeah.
There are also panel discussions where the audience can ask specific questions. So if there's something we don't cover, that will often come up. And with the experts there, somebody will have a knowledgeable base to respond.
Okay, maybe we should list off some of the other experts that are going to be a part of the symposium. Who else will be involved?
Dr. John Berardi, who runs a huge nutrition coaching business worldwide. He counsels individuals from all around the world. He's been involved in what is the biggest body transformation project anywhere. And the amount of body fat that his clients have lost is more than the total amount of the Biggest Losers 11 seasons combined.
Wow.
So he's a huge expert, and he will be drawing a lot of people. They will recognize that name for sure. Dr. Daniel Battram is an obesity expert, especially with respect to childhood obesity, which is growing at a rate faster than adult obesity, which is terrifying when we think about what's going to happen to our kids, because we're fat enough and the next generation is worse off. So we need to address that. Dr. Len Pichet is going to be talking about labeling and what's important on food labels.
Is it a perception among Canadians that this obesity problem and the lack of exercise, it's just an American problem? It's not our problem. It's just, it's really their problem.
I think so, and the Americans are a little worse off than us, but we're rapidly catching up. So it is a huge Canadian problem as well.
Do you find that we're quick to point the finger at them, though?
Yeah.
I would think, right?
I think our heads are in the sand. We're just not realizing that our lifestyles are similar enough that the same things are happening. And we're right there. The only real major difference is our population is smaller. So, you know, we're right there.
It is the type of thing that sneaks up on you too, you know, a few pounds each year, and you don't really notice it till about 15 years later. And I always tell people, look at what you weigh now versus what you weighed when you were in university. And if they're in their 40s, they're usually about 20 pounds heavier. And unfortunately, that 20 pounds is not muscle, it's body fat.
But it's so normal. We see this everywhere that we just accept it. You know, if you spend some time in another culture or another country that doesn't have the same issues that we do, you come back and you're in shock. You know, I spent a little bit of time overseas and I came back and I was like, wow, it's everybody. We're all unfit and almost all overweight. Amazing.
Well, if we need to make a change, this is a great way to do it with the 7th Annual Symposium on Nutrition and Exercise. Dr. Lemon, Kari, thank you
There's
very
great
much.
information there. It's such a nugget of amazing information.
It's
So
open
really
to
it's
all
cool.
London
Yeah.
residents, so area residents, anyone who wants to come, they can
And
go to
it's
the
a
website.
fundraiser too. It's a great fundraiser.
Well, what's the fundraiser for?
His softball team.
The Mustang women's softball team are
They're
national
national
champions.
Beautiful.
And they're raising money to go to Calgary to defend their championship.
All right.
Fantastic.
ExerciseNutritionSymposium.com for